As we've talked about in some of our other videos, a Chapter 13 bankruptcy typically lasts for anywhere between 3 and 5 years. And a lot can happen in a 3 to 5 year period, including the dissolution of a marriage, or a marriage falling apart, or getting a divorce. So if you're getting a divorce while you're within a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, there's all kinds of things that need to be done, but potentially one of those is the dissolution, or what we call a deconsolidation of your Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And what that means is the bankruptcy, instead of it being a joint bankruptcy together, it would break apart and deconsolidate into 2 separate bankruptcies for each spouse. Now, if we go kind of broad picture here and say that everything, income for the household, expenses for the household, all that kind of stuff stays the same, well then nothing would really change in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy if there was a divorce. However, we know that's very rare that income and expenses don't change after a divorce, because now there's going to be 2 households, and therefore we would assume 2 separate living expenses. So if that's the case, you would need to let your attorney know that. The attorney would need to modify the Chapter 13 plan, as well as what's called Schedules I and J, the income and expenses section of your bankruptcy, and request that the court lower the payment if it's able to be lowered. At times, it may make sense that you don't do a deconsolidation, but instead both parties just take an automatic dismissal from their bankruptcy, or a voluntary dismissal from their bankruptcy. But generally speaking, if somebody's in a couple is in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, they would do a deconsolidation to break their bankruptcy apart. Instead of being one unified bankruptcy, it would be 2 bankruptcies, and they could still maintain their Chapter 13 bankruptcy, but kind of go in 2 separate paths on that. Again, this is a very complicated section of the law, and it happens fairly frequently, but it's also very fact specific, and so it will be dependent upon your situation. So make sure that you talk to us or your bankruptcy attorney to see what's in your best bet when moving forward after a separation and divorce while you're within a Chapter 13 bankruptcy.